Wow, did Vanderbilt surprise some people in 2023. This team almost made a bowl game after sitting at the bottom of the SEC for so long. An expectation might just be that for Vanderbilt in 2023. However, the tough gauntlet of the SEC awaits them. So can Vanderbilt get over the bowl game hump and get back into the postseason, or will Vanderbilt fall back down to the very bottom in the ranks of the SEC? What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate. Welcome to my channel. My final SEC prediction video, besides my standings recap, of course, is Vanderbilt. Hey, I'm predicting all 133 college football teams, which means I'm doing your favorite team. So if that's not Vanderbilt, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you know when that team's video gets uploaded. And hey, while you're here, you might as well support me in other ways. You're already doing one by watching the video. You can leave a like, comment, share, do anything you can do to help support the channel, because it does really mean a lot to me. Whatever you are able to do is appreciated. So let's talk Vanderbilt football in 2023. Clark Lea's got this team moving in a fantastic direction, and this is going to be a competitive football team in 2023. Hey, here is how the preview and predictions work. We go through a roster preview, kind of looking at who the team lost, who returns, and also who they have coming in through the portal and their recruiting class. And then we're going to go through game by game predict Vanderbilt's schedule in 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk Vanderbilt football for the upcoming college football season, shall we? Vanderbilt, very interesting team for next year. First, we got to look at the quarterback position. Mike Wright is gone, and when he played, he was pretty good. 974 yards, 57% completion percentage, 12 touchdowns, 4 picks, and was second on the team in rushing as well. 517 yards and 5 touchdowns. He is transferred over to a different program. However, you do return A.J. Swan, who was, for the most part, that primary quarterback. He did have more pass attempts than Mike Wright, and thus more passing yards. 1,274 passing yards, 58% completion percentage, 10 touchdowns, only 2 picks. But you also got to remember that Ken Seals is back there as well. So my vote for the starting quarterback is A.J. Swan. However, I think you have a solid enough backup in Ken Seals to be able to keep the quarterback room alive if A.J. Swan were to fall apart. You lose a couple really good running backs, including the leading rusher from last year in Ray Davis. In 232 carries, he had 1,042 yards and 5 touchdowns. He is transferred over to Kentucky. And then Rocco Griffin, going to be gone off this team as well. He was a depth piece for Vanderbilt. You are going to return a couple nice players in Patrick Smith and Chase Gillespie. Those are your third and fourth leading rushers, respectively. But you do have a transfer coming in by the name of Cedric Alexander. He is only the 731st player ranked nationally according to 24/7, 5'8", 190, high 3-star recruit out of Austin, Texas. I've heard some really good things about him, but he should be a big part of that running back room as well. In the wide receiver room, I couldn't find a really notable loss. You return really everyone. Will Shepard, Jaden McGowan, and Quincy Skinner all come back. They were your top 3 receivers from last year, and they also get a couple freshmen coming in as well. London Humphreys and Junior Sherrill are going to be some key parts to that wide receiver room there in 2023. In the tight end room, you do lose Ben Bresnahan, who was your 4th leading receiver from last year. However, you're going to return Cole Spence and Justin Ball. Should be guys there in the tight end room that'll provide a nice offensive lift to Vanderbilt and some big bodies as well. On the offensive line, couldn't find any notable losses, but you do return Julian Hernandez, Bradley Ashmore, and Junior Uzebu. I believe I said that last name right. And again, I apologize for any mispronunciations on the board. On the defensive side of things, you're going to lose a guy, really talented guy, Michael Owusu, Elijah McAllister, and Malik Langham are all gone. All 3 of those guys were very, very talented players that will be missed. But you do return Christian James, Nate Clifton, Darren Agu, and Devin Lee. All should be pretty solid players on the defensive line for Vanderbilt. In the linebacker group, you lose Afrani Orji, 106 tackles for him last year, a sack and a pick as well. He was really, really good, and definitely will be a guy that you need to watch out for at the next level. However, players that you return, C.J. Taylor, Ethan Barr, Kane Patterson, and Langston Patterson are all coming back for this team in the linebacking group. C.J. Taylor was your 2nd leading tackler last season, did have a sack. Kane Patterson had 2.5 sacks. Really good number there. By the way, Christian James, 3 sacks, which led the team last year, going back to the defensive line, but should be a pretty solid front seven here for Vanderbilt. And then in the defensive back groups, you're going to lose a really good defensive back in Jeremy Lucien, tied for second on the team with 5 passes defended last year. And Maxwell Warship is gone as well, had 3 passes defended, was your 5th leading tackler. But Jalen Mahoney to Ricky Wright, who led the team with 6 passes defended and 3 picks. BJ Anderson and Tyson Russell all come back. There are a couple other transfers that I didn't mention. Oh, here's one of them in the linebacking group, Anias DeCosmo. He transferred over, I believe, from Stanford. Yes, he is. Another linebacker transfer is Prince Colley. So there are some guys here with Vanderbilt that I think are going to have some really good seasons. But can this team put it together in the gauntlet of the SEC? We're going to find out in a little bit. Your head coach is Clark Lee. Your offensive coordinator is Joey Lynch. And your defensive coordinator is Nick Howell. So without further ado, we take a look at the Vanderbilt schedule in 2023. They are one of the few teams to play in Week 0, and the first team I am mentioning on my channel that does play in Week 0. Anyway, if you want to know a game that Vanderbilt plays at home, look no further than the games that are underlined. Any game in italics, the slanted text, they are going to be games that are played on the road. And any game that I highlight in green is a game I think Vanderbilt's going to easily win. Any game in yellow is a game where, okay, the other team's going to hang around, but Vanderbilt will still win the game. And then any game in red is a loss. So let's predict Vanderbilt in 2023. We start with the Week 0 game against Hawaii. Hawaii was not a very good football team last year, and I don't think that they are going to change this year. I'm not confident in what Hawaii has this year. Vanderbilt absolutely demolished them in their building in Week 0 last year, and I think they do the same thing here. I don't see this one being particularly close, so Vanderbilt gets off on the right foot with a Week 0 win and a Week 1 win as well. I don't think I have to explain this one. Alabama A&M is an FCS team, and not a very great one at that, to my knowledge. But so Vanderbilt should be able to win their first 2 games there. But then the challenge comes right here. They got a really nice test on the road against Wake Forest in Week 2. Now, Wake Forest is losing some pieces. Sam Hartman is gone. There are a couple other pieces in the receiving core and on the defense that are leaving. But all in all, Wake Forest should still be a solid team. And I do think they have a more talented roster than Vanderbilt. If this game is being played at home, like when they played Wake Forest at home last year, I might consider this one maybe a close win, but going on the road, I think Vanderbilt's going to be a little too much. I think Wake Forest is going to be a little too much for Vanderbilt, so Vandy picks up their first loss of the year in the road game against Wake Forest. Meanwhile, you have a Week 3 road game against UNLV that I think you're going to win pretty handily. Again, UNLV, not a great football team, and UNLV I think has the potential to be able to hang around in this game, but I do still think Vanderbilt's going to be able to pretty easily win that game there against UNLV. So they start out 3-1. It's a pretty good start for Vanderbilt, and then to begin SEC play, you get your first 2 games at home. Can't script it any better than that, really. Sorry, I had to take a quick water break. Make sure, everyone out there, you stay hydrated. Now, when we take a look at the first 2 games in SEC play, Kentucky is an SEC sleeper, and I really like what Kentucky has got this year with Devin Leary. He's got a lot of good pass catchers. The defense should be ready to go as well. I don't think Vanderbilt's going to be up to the task here, and while I think they keep it close at home, I think this is going to be a loss for Vanderbilt against Kentucky. However, you look at your next game, and it's Missouri. Missouri's going to be a really interesting team this year. They're a fringe bowl game type team for me. Do they make it? Do they not? Maybe one of a couple games will decide that factor. But for me, Vanderbilt's going to win at least one game in the SEC, and I have them winning this one here. I think a combination of some of those returning guys in the defensive back group and the defensive front are going to do just enough to be able to frustrate Brady Cook, and this offense going to score enough points to be able to beat Missouri. So Vanderbilt, I got right now 4-2. However, when you look at the back half of this schedule, yikes, good luck finding a win. On the road at Florida is a game that I think Vanderbilt can be winnable from a talent perspective, but going on the road to play in the Swamp is just something that is really tough to do. Something that not a lot of teams do with a whole lot of success. And so Vanderbilt, for me, I do have going on the road and losing to the University of Florida in that game. No reason for me to talk on why Georgia is going to beat Vanderbilt. I mean, it's the back-to-back reigning national champion against Vanderbilt. And no offense to my Commodore fans out there, but you guys are nowhere near the level of talent that Georgia possesses. And so you reach your first bye week. Yes, I say first bye week because when you play in week 0, you get the benefit of having 2 bye weeks, but then you got to go on the road and play Ole Miss. Ole Miss, we know what they are. They're a very fast, offensive-paced team. The defense is continuing to improve. Vanderbilt, again, nowhere near the talent level that they need to be, especially defensively, to slow down this Ole Miss offense. I got them losing that game as well. Okay, you got to win 2 out of your last 3 here to make a bowl game, and that's going to be a hard challenge. You get a chance here with Auburn at home. Now, we don't quite know what Auburn is going to be. A lot of people think they're going to be really good. Some people think they might not be so good in Hugh Freeze's first year, but I have this as one of my sleeper teams in the SEC. I think Auburn is going to be fairly solid in the SEC this year. They're getting a lot of really nice transfers to come in and play for that program and Hugh Freeze. Even though this game is at home, Vanderbilt might be in contention for a little bit, but Auburn at the end of the day pulls away with their talent level. Then you got a couple road games to finish out the schedule. You go on the road against South Carolina. That's a loss for me as well. I like what the Gamecocks have this year, and if for some just crazy reason Georgia and Tennessee were to not be there, I think South Carolina can absolutely go win the SEC East, but again, that's not going to happen. South Carolina, for me, very, very good team. Vanderbilt going on the road, don't see them having much success. And then you get your second bye week here before your rivalry game against Tennessee, which I also think they are going to lose. Same kind of premise with Ole Miss here, right? I do not think that Vanderbilt has enough talent defensively to be able to slow down what Tennessee is going to throw at them. Tennessee is one of the best schemed offenses in the entire country, if not the best schemed offense in the entire country. So Vanderbilt drops that game there as well, which when you look across the board, 4-8 is my record prediction for Vanderbilt and all those wins courtesy in the first half of the schedule. Now, can they beat a team like Florida? Yeah. Can they beat a team like Kentucky? Yeah. Can they beat a team like Wake Forest or Auburn? Maybe, but it's going to be really hard for Vanderbilt to make a bowl game this year, Commodore fans. However, again, saying that, this team can be really good. My absolute ceiling, if everything goes right, is 7-5. There are just a couple games I don't think they're going to win, like Tennessee, Ole Miss, Georgia, maybe that road game against Florida, maybe that road game against South Carolina. But when all is said and done, Vanderbilt can be really close to making a bowl game. Just unfortunately, Commodore fans, I don't think that's happening this year. That wraps up SEC predictions. My standing recap is coming up next. For those of you that have watched the entire SEC, thank you. We're moving on to the Big Ten after the SEC standings video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Please like, comment, subscribe, and remember to play hard but tailgate harder. See all you guys in the next video. Goodbye.